Hello fellow horror geeks and welcome back to cityofgeek.com presents 100 Days of Horror. It is day 57 and today we're talking about Rob Zombie's 3 from Hell. Or there's 44 days left depending on how you do this, because we all do it in different ways over at the Facebook group and the City of Geek main page about 100 Days of Horror, which we all watch 100 horror films we haven't seen in the days leading up to Halloween. So you can do it however you want. So I'm counting up, others are counting down, so it's all the same in the end. 57, 44. We're still talking about 3 from Hell, because myself, Kim, Cody, and Tony all went to see it last night for the second night of the Fathom event screenings on the 17th of September. Of the 3 they're doing on the Monday, which already passed, Tuesday, which already passed, and Wednesday, which is today. So if you happen to see this and you're like, oh crap! But if you're watching this video, you'll probably already know it's playing or looking to see when it comes out in VOD sometime next month, which it's wonderful that all 4 of us went to see because we all have different opinions on this, or all completely across the board, and I know at least Kim and Cody are writing their own written reviews, so and I don't know what Tony's gonna do probably eventually. So we have at least 3 reviews for 3 from Hell, so which is really nice, going completely from here to here and myself in the middle. I'll let them figure out which ones they are when the reviews get posted. So look at all 3 and decide which one fits your sensibilities, which one you like best. As this is a sequel to both House of 1,000 Corpses and Devil's Rejects, this is written and directed by Rob Zombie, and your mileage on Rob Zombie may vary compared to mine. I really love both of these movies. Pointing at DVDs, I don't know if it's really clear there. House of 1,000 Corpses I went to see on my 21st birthday, dragged a bunch of my friends, and I loved this Technicolor Funhouse vibe and had so much fun with it. Sid Haig comes out and steals the show, and I always feel really bad that I didn't quite know who he was until then. After that, I went back and found a bunch of his stuff. I know a lot of people were talking about Spider Baby, which I really loved finding, or also known as the maddest story ever told. If you haven't seen or heard of Spider Baby, you need to go check us out as soon as you can. It's directed by Walter Hill, some 64 or something, somewhere in there. It has Sid Haig in one of his first roles, and Lon Chaney Jr. in one of his last roles. So check out Spider Baby if you haven't yet. It's available somewhere, I'm not sure. I got it on something weird DVD. So Devil's Rejects is a completely different style movie, and it took me the second viewing to really hit into me. Like the first time I watched it, I'm like, that was good, but I don't know, that I felt like I missed something. I felt like it wasn't like maybe in the right mindset, and I went back and watched it again and loved it for completely different reasons than House of 1,000 Corpses. And I really appreciate that Rob Zombie took a completely different method. Even he's doing the same characters, but a stripped down, grimy, different type of exploitation film between House of 1,000 Corpses and Devil's Rejects. 1,000 Corpses remind me a lot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and Devil's Rejects of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1, though both their influences for those are a lot wider than just simply those 2 Tobe Hooper movies. But the fact that Bill Moseley is in them and you get to start in Texas Chainsaw 2 really has a lot to do with that, I think, too. But it really shows where Rob Zombie's coming from, because he loves to take these character actors you might not have seen in a zillion things and put them into these movies. He does that in these ones, he does it in his other movies, does it here as well. Some of the same people he's used before, but it's still good to see them again. For the rest of the filmography, we've talked about the Halloween movies extensively on the podcast, on this website. Especially if you go back to our Halloween episode, we do spend a decent amount of time talking about Halloween and Halloween 2, so you can check it. I think it's the 3rd episode of our podcast, about a little less than a year ago, before the new movie came out, and you can find our thoughts there. El Superbeasto, I fucking hate. Lord of Salem is a movie I like parts of. I understand and like what he was going for. I thought it had a really big Ken Russell vibe, and I dug that. I just think the movie itself was really messy. Then 31 is just awful. Besides Richard Brake as Doomhead, he comes in the beginning, comes in the end, and just really steals it. Like, he's definitely the takeaway of that movie. Watch 31 for anything, it's Richard Brake. And Richard Brake, we do have more in this one. He's been in Halloween 2. You've probably saw him last year in Mandy, and then he was the first Night King in Game of Thrones. So it's a guy you haven't seen very often, but hopefully he gets to break Rob Zombie movies and make something even bigger outside of the horror genre, because I love this guy. He's so charismatic. He's got a lot of this devilish energy to him that really shines through in the Rob Zombie movies, and he really gets a lot to do in this case, because he's one of the 3 from Hell. Yes, we have Baby Firefly Otis Driftwood, played by Sherry Moon Zombie, and Bill Moseley again, a new character known as Foxy, played by Richard Brake, because unfortunately Sid Haig is a little too sick in order to do the role. And he has a couple scenes in this, and we horror fans know that he just recently had to go through some bigger health issues. He was in the hospitalized last week and looked like he might lose him, but apparently he's He's his old ornery self as I record this, as of a post from his wife the other day. So, Sid, get better. We love you. You're amazing. And it kind of sucks that you weren't able to do what was written for you for this movie, and unfortunately decreasing your role. But I'd rather have him cut out more and be healthy than force him to go through everything here and have it kill him or make it worse. The Richard Brake part, Foxy, was originally Captain Spaulding, and sometimes it does feel like a copy paste of Spaulding to Foxy, but I'd say that Brake does everything he can to make it his own, and there's only a couple points where it really shines through of like, that was supposed to be for Captain Spaulding, and you know it in the back of your head watching through, but I tried to distance it to make sure I gave it an even break that's like, oh, I can't believe it's not Captain Spaulding. I think I was hopefully able to do that because I really like Richard Brake in here. He did do everything he can to distance Foxy from Spaulding and be his own thing, but also still part of the same clan because he's another Firefly that we didn't see in the previous 2 movies because I guess he was in jail. But ultimately just looking at these 3 movies, House of 1,000 Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and 3 from Hell, this is the weakest of the 3, even if I go back and watch it a week later like I did for Devil's Rejects, so I won't be able to do that until next month. I don't think it would hold up. I don't think I'd find something newer in here because while House of 1,000 Corpses and Devil's Rejects are 2 completely different movies featuring the same clan but in a different way, this is very much Devil's Rejects light, using many of the same plot points, many of the same ideas, kind of a lot of the same feel, but with unfortunately lacking a lot of the same narrative drive and tension that Devil's Rejects had through most of its movie. That movie had more of a pressing issue going on. This one's a little more slower and kind of just moves a little bit off, and the pacing's kind of weird, and so that like the first portion, which before we get everyone back together, is way too long, and I thought we were further in the movie. I looked at my watch after the sequence ended, and I'm like, okay, we should actually be kind of coming to a conclusion, which sucks because we just got Otis and Baby back together, but actually we're only about little more than an hour into the movie, so about halfway through, and it's like, okay. So yeah, pacing is an issue here, and the storyline is a lot lighter. We pick up 10 years later after what was thought to be the definitive death of the 3 of them, but it turns out they were all about shot 20 times each, and they actually survived. And then we have a little bit of a documentary to start moving like that touch of catching us up to this world at this point of the years that have passed since. And it's 1988 though. One may be detractor for some people and not for me. It still feels like it's 1978, but it's Rob Zombie's aesthetic, it's his style, and if he suddenly moved this to 1980s and had an 80s look to it, I don't think it would work nearly as well for what he was trying to do, where his sensibilities lie. If he shoved 80s reference in there, that would have felt really false and really just pushed in. So we keeping it with the 70s aesthetic even as the late 80s now, I think that was a good choice. But they survive, they go to trial, and they're in jail for a while until they get the opportunity to leave the jail, whether on their own advices or something else. I'm not going to spoil the actual details of what happens there, but and eventually as things come through, we do get the group back together, and we get the 3 from Hell, and that this takes just so long to get there because you're waiting for it to happen, and just kind of moves along, and taking the same ideas from Devil's Rejects, where you get kidnapped people, make them do something to help you and help you get forward else, and you get to a different location, and then things start to go to shit there. And so it's the same bits but not nearly done as well. But that being said, I did enjoy the movie a lot because I really liked seeing these characters again. Watching them get back in the skin of these characters, or the skin of other characters that gotta be fit for the Fireflies to skin people alive and wear their skins, felt natural, and it felt they were just coming right back into there, but it didn't feel like they hated coming back there, and it also feel like it was repeating their own performances. But the same people 10 years later on, and that it felt that you felt the growth of them, they felt the expansion of them from the last 10 years in prison. Otis a little more calmed down, less ranty and conspiratorial and stuff like that, and he's more, he's kind of sliding into the Captain Spaulding role a little bit of being the grumpy head on the shoulders. And Baby is look, Sherry Moon Zombie does a really good job in this. This is a sentence I never thought I would say of how good Sherry Moon Zombie is in 3 from Hell, but she knocks it out of the park. And for once, we actually don't see her ass. Strange. not to objectify her to that, but it's just a common joke in the Rob Zombie movies of Sherry Moon Zombie's ass starring along with her. But she does a really good job as Baby over the course of, of this time, where she's more unhinged, she's starting to kind of crack a little bit, but she plays it to the fences, but it doesn't come off as chewing that scenery. It comes off as someone who doesn't quite have that connection with reality, and even Otis, as crazy as he is, realizes this too. So there's that dynamic between them, and they have a great chemistry. Them and Richard Brakes, Foxy, all have a great chemistry. They really felt like they've known each other their entire lives. They have their in jokes, they have their things that continue. A couple of those in jokes are references to the previous films, but not done in a winky way. But it feels like just those characters would say these things to each other throughout their lives in different ways, and kind of continuing on that, and you feel that connection, and that's something that's really strong there. There's no bad apples in the performances in this case. Even the side characters, you get Dee Wallace and Jeff Daniel Phillips in bigger roles. You get Clint Howard a little bit, and you got a couple other cameos who I won't say who they are and where they fall in. I'm trying to avoid where each of those people are if you haven't seen any of the trailers or know. So you do have the character actors to come in, and Rob Zombie really knows that he's a character actor. He loves his character actors, and that shows through. And it's definitely an enjoyable film. It's enjoyable to watch it unfold, even if we have seen this in a different way before, but it just lacks a narrative drive of the previous two movies, where you had urgency and you had a push for them to do something quickly. Or in the case of House of 1,000 Corpses, they're fucking around with everyone there, but they also got the police showing in, and they got their Halloween night, and Devil's Rejects, they have Sheriff Lydell after them the entire time, and that's leaning on them. In this case, we have kind of two separate stories, so much so that when that first half was going on and I thought we were actually reaching a conclusion, there's a moment where I thought that it's going to have everyone meet up and it's going to go to credits with "To Be Continued" and "4 from Hell" or something like that, and I almost thought that was going to happen, and but luckily it didn't. Also from seeing the trailer and seeing images, I knew there was more, but also felt like it was it's like one bigger story cleaved in half and given us those two bits. So the second half, when you're for villains and stuff there, don't relate to the first half. And that was a detriment to the storytelling, because it does have that feel to it. But it is a worthy enough effort. It doesn't seem like it's something worth 14 years of waiting for. It's probably a smaller product than you'd expect after 14 years. It's definitely a step up from 31 again. 31 kind of felt like a student movie, which is weird because it was like, what, 6th movie? But it doesn't have... I was working on a smaller budget and a quicker time, and so that's something there. And Rob Zombie's a person who seems like he knows what he wants. And I love his visual style. I didn't mention the visual so much in this, but it's the same style you've seen previously, and I love that look to it. I love all the cuts and all the changes and I love all the cuts and different odd camera angles he uses. He doesn't like to. He says in the special feature that followed the movie that he doesn't like to have like the master and the over the shoulders and the twos and this and that, but he likes to do his own thing, and he likes to do different angles. He shoots with two cameras at once, so he gets the performances to continue with continuity there, and I think that really does show that he is trying to create something different than what you expect from cinema. He has a different eye, and one thing I want to see him do now, actually, I've been saying this for a while, and we said this in the podcast before, is that he really should do someone else's script. I'd love to see what he can do with maybe a better script that's out of his normal wheelhouse. You got the Rob Zombie expectations. 3 from Hell is, if you like the other two movies, you'll like one just fine. If you're not a fan of the first two movies, you're not going to like this. If you're a fan of the first two movies, you might not even like it, because one of the members loves these first two movies and absolutely hated it. So I'm kind of on the fence. There's things I like, things I didn't like. Some of the members here at City of Geek really loved it, despite those, even noting that those issues are there. So it's wonderful to revisit Otis and Baby and meet Foxy, and the time that we do get with Captain Spaulding is great. So I appreciate I really like coming back into this world and enjoying it in that way. But it's ultimately lesser film than the first two, but I'll definitely add it to the shelf, and I'll watch it as a trilogy at some point, usually probably on Halloween's. But 3 from Hell, yeah, check it out. I'll give it a B. I think a B feels right. Now check out the rate and reviews from our members of City of Geek, and check out my other video reviews here by hitting the subscribe. Look at the other things from 100 Days of Horror. I'm going to record a whole bunch of them today in the afternoon. Suspect a couple of those soon, and hopefully this weekend I finally fulfill that promise of doing non-horror reviews for a little bit. Got a lot of those to watch too, to make too. So thank you for speaking geek with us as we talk about 3 from Hell, and stay scary. Bye.